there, dear friends. Welcome to another video from me. This is going to be a card video. I was inspired by a video that I had watched where she had used some strips of paper, and that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to make sure to link the inspiration in the description box below so you can watch her as well. I believe I got this one from Julie Davis, which is a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I just like the idea of using strips, and I actually used a particular 6x6 that I've had in my stash for a while. It's a spring one, and it's April, so I thought, why not do a spring? It's Spring Fling from Echo Park, I think. And so I'm just basically doing what she did, where she created the background, which is strips of paper. These are cut in 1/2 inch width, and I'm just kind of putting them in, like positioning them so that they're in different kind of lineups with on the paper. I did cut my paper in, I think I did it 4.5 by, or 4 1/4 by 5.5, just because I didn't know what mine would, like what I would, what my background would look like at the end. So I wanted it to have as much paper as I can, so that I will have lots of room to change it up. And I did add a bunch of adhesive to that paper, to the background paper, so it'll be easy for me to add the strips as I go. And then I just trim the edges. I do use some of the trimmed edges that I cut just for, especially those little parts that, it only needs little parts. And then, as you can see, I have done 4. I was just showing you the last one that I created. And then this is where I'm going to kind of start playing around and decorating it. So, one of the things that she did for her background was that she did kind of a window, and that's what I'm going to do here. I want to do a window. Again, when I was starting this video, I had no idea what my finished cards were going to look like. I just kind of wanted to try her style or her design. And so I'm going to go for a few here. I'm going to try them out and see what I come up with. Now the circle one, she actually she put her strips on the back of the circle to create kind of this mosaic type of background. And I wanted to try that out as well. So that's why I created a circle. And then I have this frame that I thought will be nice. And again, I have no clue what I'm doing here. Just trying to follow along what she did. And then later on, I'm going to kind of deviate and do my own thing. But now let's go and start making cards. Now I have some backgrounds, I have some labels and all of that good stuff. Now it's time to create some background. The one last kind of technique that I wanted to try that I found from her, like I said, is this mosaic. And so I had cut the paper, and instead of using, I've cut a circle off out of the paper, and instead of using the circle, I'm using the negative piece of that circle, and I'm putting the strips of paper behind it to kind of, again, look like a mosaic type of look. One thing that I've learned when I was creating this was that make sure that when you're putting your papers, you're not putting the same paper very close to each other, like next to each other. You have to do it a little bit kind of like spread it around that circle piece so that they don't blend with each other. And also it's kind of nice to have them scattered in the different parts of your circle. And so that's what I'm doing here. I'm just adding some adhesive as I go. I also am kind of trimming the edges here because, of course, you don't want all that messy stuff to be shown on the front of the card. So I am trimming some of those that kind of go over this square, or it's more a rectangle that I have created. All right, so now that that's done, let me get started on putting the cards together. I did like a scallop edge to my papers, and so a few of these have a background piece that was cut into a scallop rectangle using my favorite close to my heart, no, not close to my heart, my favorite things scallop rectangle die. Now, initially I thought, okay, I have this bunny and it's a spring paper, so maybe I can make some Easter cards, and I'm going to attempt to color this cute bunny, but not very good with coloring bunnies, apparently. I did not like how it looked, but I'll show you later what I do to kind of fix my mess. I'm also using a set of Hero Arts ink tubes that I had purchased at Tuesday Morning, maybe a month ago, or maybe even 2 months ago. And I'm using the inks for that. So I used kind of the grayish blue for the bunny, and then I'm using the purple the for the title, the Happy Easter one. And so in my mind, I was going to color this gray, for the bunny. But the problem that I had was I stamped, sorry, the bunny with the gray too. So it just looks like it was like a ghost of a bunny. I don't know if you guys have ever have mistakes like this where yeah, it didn't work. I mean, as you can see, I can't even see the eyes and all that details of the bunny. It was just, it was, yeah, it was a fail. Let's just put it that way. Total fail. I think I'm trying to see what color I want the tail to be. And so just trying to, I have my cheat sheet here for my Spectrum Noir markers, and I'm going to kind of pick what I think the bunny tail should look like. And I'm even going to go all the way to the part where I'm hand cutting this bunny. At this point, I already felt like this is not going to work. I don't like the look of it, the bunny, but sometimes you go through and see if it's, you have this gut feeling sometimes, right? As crafters, where it's not going to work out, and yet you still plug along. And yeah, as you can see, it was not working at all. And thankfully, when I was filming this, I already had a plan for my next card video, and I did some prep for that already. And so I'm going to be able to salvage this by using one of them. But first, I thought, well, maybe I can use a spring themed sticker for it. And I went with this snail, which would totally work. Like, I don't have anything against the snail. I think it's really cute. I think my biggest problem was that the bottom is such straight edge that when I put it in the center of this circle, that it felt like it needed some grass to sit on. And I guess if I had just stopped and kind of thought about how I can make it work, I probably would have used that snail, but it's not gonna end up being the center of this particular card. And let me tell you, I did not realize how long this one card took me, because in my head I already had a picture of what it's going to be and everything, but again, the bunny just did not work for me. I scrapped that as soon as I put it all over this mosaic circle, and it's just not going to work. But before that, I'm going to go back to working with this particular part of the card, and I'm layering that just because I felt like first of all, it will smash all of not smash, but like cover up all of the messiness of the back, and make sure that it's going to be adhered well onto the background piece. But I also thought that the blue just felt like it did not stand out against that floral background, and so I needed that to go on top of the pink, just a sliver, so that you can see the blue better against the floral background. And then I am just trimming this Happy Easter because I needed it to stand out against that busy floral background. But I love that scallop on the floral. I just think it's really dainty. It just screams spring to me. And so now I'm going to be adhering my papers on my card base, and I'm using a craft card base. And and I'm just adhering everything here now, making sure that they're centered, and I'm just using some snail adhesive for that. And this is, as you can see, I was tapping my fingers. This is when I'm trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to put in the center? Maybe I could put a heart. Maybe I could put a butterfly. A butterfly was too small. And I'm going to go through a few more things here. The snail just didn't quite make it for me. Again, I didn't like it. And then here's when I was rummaging through some pre-stamped and colored images that I have that's going to be for another card series that I'm doing at the end of the month. But I had this chick, which was already colored, already pre-cut, and I was like, perfect. We're going to go with that. And I really love how the chick went. I guess if I had enough patience, I would have just stamped that bunny again so that I can color it. But I like the chick. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I have stuck with the bunny in the center, or should I've the chick was just fine. So here is card number 2 for this particular set. Remember I had I had cut frames from the background piece, but I also cut a little frame from another color piece of paper. And I have this tiny stamp set that is Easter or spring themed. As you can see, I'm kind of pulling out my themed stamps as well, just to use them up, right? Why not? And then I'm using this orange background, or orange card base rather. I thought that would be nice to go up against this very colorful strip of, or piece of paper. Now I'm going to put the bunny, or Somebody Loves You, as my title for this card set, for this card rather. And then I have some more of those colored images, and I was kind of saving them for my next card series, but I thought they were cute to add to this card too. So they're going to be on here. I have already stamped and I have pre-cut, stamped, and colored those images as well. Now I'm going to wait till to adhere that's the title frame onto the card, just because I was using a dye-based ink, and so it's a little wet. Now here is another faux pas that I did. I tried to stamp that monkey, or stamped it, and I colored it, and whoa, did it look horrible. I was trying to go for a brown monkey. Whoa, it was just not working. It was an ugly coloring, if I say so myself. So I'm just going to scrap that. But of course, this card still needs some kind of embellishment in the center. But here's what I do. Like when I'm kind of stumped, I kind of move on and then revisit that and then go do something else. Well, so that's what I did. I adhered everything. I have that circle that it's the positive from the frame that I'd created, and I wanted to use that up. And then the monkey didn't work out well, and so I have this sticker that is basically a flower, like a pot or pitcher, I should say, and it has flowers in it. And I thought, okay, we'll just use that one. And so I'm adding that to the card with some fun foam. And I was debating if I should put a sentiment on the front of this card, but I felt like that flower was plenty kind of a focal point for this card, that I didn't need any other thing in it. So I didn't put any sentiment on here. And I think sometimes we need cards like this so that when we do have an occasion that we don't have a particular, or that, it's not generic like a birthday or a thank you, that we can use this for those kinds of times where you still need a card, but it doesn't require a sentiment, or it requires a sentiment that's personal. So that's going to be card number 3. And then this is card number 4. And this is using the positive of that frame. Remember, I cut a label in the center of the frame, and I used a negative space for that to kind of frame my card. And now I'm using the positive side, and that's going to be kind of the focal point, or what will house my my title here, which is Happy Easter. I am using that sentiment again because why not, right? And I'm just using a scrap of white piece of paper to stamp that, and I'm using a blue ink. And then I'm using some more leftover papers from that 6x6 pad. I did not use up all of this pad, just so you know. It's not like my 10 handmade cards, one homemade kit type of video, because, well, first of all, I'm not making 10 cards, but at the same time, I feel like I need to take a break from that. I still like the idea of like using up a whole pack of papers to for 10 cards, but I did not use up the papers here, just so you know. But I did manage to use a bunch of them, so I still think that that's good use of my supplies. So as you can see, I am using the part of the paper that has the circle, and that's for when you know, to pack for the packaging, but it's going to be covered with that plaid paper anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. But I do want my papers, the top part at least, to be or under the stitching of my scallop frame, and so that's why I marked it, so I can trim that just the right size that will fit right under that the stitch of the frame. So we're getting close to the end. I hope that you guys like this video and have been inspired by the ideas that I have created here. If you like these kinds of videos, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And let me know, what kind of card videos would you like to see from me in the future? Sometimes I kind of get stumped with ideas for what to do or how to challenge myself in creating. So if you have any ideas that you think would work with the type of crafting that I do, let me know in the description box below, because I'd love to hear that. Now I'm going to cut this Easter, or the ends of it, into notches, just so that it will have some interest in there, and then I'm going to adhere that to the center. I didn't want to cover up the kind of quilt type strip that I've created with the frame. I felt like that's a good focal point to the sentiment, so I'm not going to cover that up, and finishing it off with some rhinestones. And then after I've done all of this, oh, I guess we're on layout number, or card number 5. I thought I had only made 4, or I only did 4 videos, but I did 5. So here's my 5th card, and with this one I wanted to use that green frame. Now this is a little big, and I was thinking, okay, I have this, I don't have a lot of big sentiments, that's my problem, and I guess that's something that I need to buy more of, or at least like have a few in my stash. But I don't have like really huge sentiment stamps that I can use for this big of a frame. And so I decided that I'm going to do, you know, like a design on the edges of this particular frame with some flourishes and whatnot, and then put my sentiment in the center, so that it would still, like, there's still going to be a lot of designs all around the frame, but it won't take away too much from the sentiment itself. So I'm just going to add this particular design on 2 sides, or 2 corners of the frame, and then I'm going to do the thinking of you in the center. Now when I was in the middle of doing this, I was thinking, oh, I might have made a mistake of not using my stamp positioner when I was doing this thinking of you, because I think I remember the stamp needs to be like stamped a few times in order for you to see the whole the whole image. And so I'm a little bit worried at this point, anyways. I was a little bit worried that I had just ruined the space or the frame that I was going for. But thankfully, because I have a foam underneath and just pressing really hard and making sure that that particular stamp had a lot of ink on it, that it worked. I mean, as you can see, the bottom of the O, there's still a little bit of lightness to that, but I'm going with that. I'm happy with the way it turned out. I was bracing for the worst, but it turned out it was just fine. And so here I am going to trim this piece that I have created, or I have filled with that strip, because I wanted that piece to go inside the scallop stitch background that I had cut with die cut. And so I'm just kind of trimming that off. And in the process of trimming it, I actually cut out a piece of the quilt that I created, but no worries. I can just get some piece of paper and adhere pattern paper to it, or in this case, the back side of a pattern paper, and then adhere that to the card front. And this particular card will be a horizontal card. Now here I'm auditioning a few different types of cards because I didn't know what would look best. All of them look good, but I wasn't sure which one would look the best. And I'm gonna go with the craft one just because I feel like the yellow and the green stands out more with the craft one. I really like this pink as well, so that was kind of sometimes when you have way too many choices, I don't know, it hurts you too because there's just too many choices. But I'm going to go with this one and adhere that thinking of you label there in the center. And I know it's going to cover a lot of that quilt look, but it's okay. I still like how that turned out. And then I totally forgot that I had one more panel that I created, and this is the card that I made with it. I didn't have a video for it because I've discovered it when I was cleaning all of my my papers. So anyways, those are my cards for the day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys another day. Bye.